All right, everybody. Vincent is back, and I am working on my fourth video now. And this, of course, is about my journey outside of the Watchtower Society. And, I get excited about these videos. If you ever see me wearing the same shirt and I've done 2 or 3 videos, it's because I wanted to create several videos in a day. So, because this has become, like I said, it's become like a journal for me. It's a way of sharing my story. It helps me with how I feel. It helps me to sort my thoughts out. It's very therapeutic, even for me. But mostly, I want to do it for those that are former witnesses, because even if you have recovered from the Watchtower, sometimes once you recover, like I have totally recovered. I actually enjoy going back and listening to former ex-witness videos, because it's very interesting. I mean, we were living in a matrix. It's just unreal. I mean, you were in a different world, a different universe, and it's just it's funny at times, and then other times it's like you just can't believe the psychosis that you had when you were in the Watchtower Society. All right, well, now we'll get to the subject at hand. What do I want to talk about today? Well, last time we talked about do I hate Jehovah's Witnesses? And we briefly touched on that. And like I said, we could talk a lot about that, and we will later. But I don't know why, but when I was making that video, I started thinking about my mother, and I think I mentioned my mom in that video, because it made me think, how do I feel about my mother today? And you'll know why I'm talking about this, because if you're an ex-witness, or even a Jehovah's Witness, I wish every Jehovah's Witness would watch these videos, but you understand that when you leave that organization, you are disfellowshipped, or you perhaps disassociated yourself from that organization. Once you do that, your entire life unravels, because you understand that everyone, all of your friends that were Jehovah's Witnesses, your aunts, your uncles, your mom and dad, if you're a son or a daughter and you have left home and you're on your own, you have your own family, and now you have grandchildren and all of this, your mom and dad, your friends, they will completely abandon you. I mean, they won't talk to you. They won't come over to see you. And I'm talking years and years and years can go by before they ever talk to you, unless they will talk to you if you go back to that organization. If you throw away all of your knowledge, everything that you know about the organization, everything you know about God, everything you know about the Bible, if you throw all of that away and go back, then they'll take you in. So, my mother has not talked to me in about 8 years now. And my brothers, they've been out longer. I mean, I was a latecomer. I didn't leave till late in life. And right now, yes, it's been about 8 years since my mom has cut me off. She has not talked to me. We've had no conversation, zero. It's almost like she died. But for my brothers, they've been cut off like 30, 40 years. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of time their mother has not talked to them. And my mom, I just want to say something. My mom is not being extreme. My mom is living the life of a Jehovah's Witness as it's written in their publications. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about my mom here in just a moment. But first of all, I'm not here to gossip about my mom. This video is about me and my feelings. But first of all, we're going to talk about this coffee. We're going to talk about my mug of coffee for just a moment. Because if you're a coffee lover, this represents so many things. It's not about the liquid that's inside. This coffee mug represents warmth, security, family, conversation, good times. I mean, and you understand, again, if you're a coffee lover, you know that this is the elixir of the gods. A mug of coffee has almost taken on an esoteric meaning. And I'm not really kidding about that. If you're a beer drinker and you throw all your beer in the toilet, I have no problem with that. If I catch you throwing coffee in the toilet, you might lose your life. But okay, putting all humor aside, why do I mention coffee? Because one of my dreams, my mom's a big coffee drinker. She's addicted to coffee, and I think she feels the same way. I mean, every coffee drinker feels the same way, right? But one of my dreams, one of my fantasies, and yes, it's a fantasy. Yes, I'm not cutting the hand of God short. I mean, miracles do happen, but for the most part, it is a fantasy. And what is my fantasy? My fantasy is that one day, here's what I imagine. I imagine my mother coming to my house one early evening and say, "Hey, Vincent, everything you said was true. I am totally awakened. I need to hear more." And what do I imagine? I imagine myself, and I imagine my wife right now, and I imagine my children being over at my house, and I imagine us sitting in the living room, having a mug of coffee, and just having a good time, talking about the Watchtower and how it's just totally messed up your life, but talking about the marvelous freedom and how it feels to be outside of the Watchtower society. And also my sons and myself, we can be of assistance to people like my mom. We can help her through the trauma. And especially if you're a follower of Christ, you can really help these people to see that their life in the Watchtower does not have to be a waste of time or a waste of life. In fact, we'll talk about it later, but would I change anything? Would I want to go back in time and not be in the Watchtower? No. I definitely have views about that and opinions, not only about the Watchtower, but everything bad in your life. Most of it, if your life is good today, never wish that those bad things never happened, because those bad things made you who you are. If your life is good, they made you who you are, and that's a good thing. We'll talk more about that later. But yes, I imagine my mom doing that, being with us together, all happy and talking about things. But now let's talk about what are my feelings about my mom today. I mean, I do have those dreams. Do I think they're going to come true? I'll just say no. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, like I said, I don't want to cut the hand of God short. Miracles do happen, but how do I really envision it? I envision my mom dying and never speaking from this point on until she dies. I just imagine her dying, and that's really sad, isn't it? I mean, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I would have probably acted just like my mom. But at the same time, the core me did not really agree with such extreme behavior. I'll tell you why, and I can prove this. Because my mom's mother, my grandmother, she came to my house where I was raised, and we were in the backyard. I was young, and we were talking about the organization, about the truth. Anyway, she made the statement to me, and I remember her facial. I remember where she was sitting. I remember it all. She said, "I would never abandon my children." And I never forgot that, because deep down, and I didn't argue with her, because deep down I knew that is wrong. I mean, what mother would throw away her children that she gave birth to? I mean, I know someone, and I'm not going to mention her name, but I know someone very well who claims to be a Jehovah's Witness and would want nothing to do with apostates, right? But they will never, and they have not, abandoned their children. There are witnesses that find loopholes to get around that. I mean, there are people that will make up excuses to go see their disfellowshipped children. They'll say, "Oh, I heard their car broke down and I'm going to go help them with the car." No, they're lying. They just want to see their children, because in their heart of hearts, they don't want to abandon their children. But my mom, she is completely indoctrinated. She's been totally brainwashed. I totally get it. I was there, so I understand. But at the same time, when it comes to people like that, I have a hard time just accepting the fact that they're brainwashed. And here's why. Because, yes, it took me a long time to leave that organization and to wake up. However, as I said before, I loved truth. I loved God. And I always told my children, if this organization is not true, then I will leave immediately. I will not wait one moment in the Watchtower Society. I'm going to leave. Okay. True. You would think I would have, awakened a long time ago because I found, things that were inconsistent in the Watchtower and all of this. But it just wasn't the time. But when I did find a lie, I was out. I did exactly what I told my children I would do because it's just natural for me, because I hate lies. I love truth and I love God. So I was out. So I have a hard time with people, even like my mom, because so many things have changed. If you're a Jehovah's Witness or we're a Jehovah's, I mean, when I was little growing up, I mean, the organization was a lot deeper than what it is today. I mean, we would have to learn almost Hebrew and Greek words, and we had to really know the Bible. Whereas today, it's really been dumbed down, and so many bad things has happened in the organization. I mean, you should be waking up. In fact, there's a lot of witnesses that are waking up, and even if they haven't actually left, they're physically in but mentally out. But I don't believe my mom's mentally out at all. She's still in, and it's really hard to imagine her still in. But she has totally abandoned, her family. So how do I feel about her? Do I miss her? Well, of course I miss her. That's why I told you I have these dreams, these fantasies about her waking up and us having a good time together talking about this. However, do I walk around my house constantly thinking about my mom? Am I saddened by my mom day in and day out? Do I always think about her dying and never talking to her again? Absolutely not. Now, to some people that may be shocking. However, if you're a follower of Christ, you're totally going to understand what I'm going to say. I like shocking statements. I like telling people something totally that just sounds absolutely wrong to see how they will react. And then I like to show them that what I said is technically true. And that's what happened with, I made this statement, before I was almost awake in the organization, but not quite there. And there was an elder there, and I made this statement. Did you know? I said that you don't need your parents. You don't need your mom and dad. And he gave me the ugliest look, like, you have lost your mind. I mean, because doesn't the Bible say honor your father and your mother? Yes, it does. However, you did not leave your mom or dad. You didn't leave your parents. I didn't leave my parents. They abandoned you because of an organization that they loved. They loved that organization more than they do you. So why am I not saddened today? It's like I said, technically you don't need your parents if you love God. Because there is a scripture in the Psalms that says, even if my own father or mother left me or abandoned me, he said, you will take me in. You'll take me up. He's talking about God. See, God fills in that void for me. And it's not an artificial feeling. I feel no sadness day by day. Yes, do I miss my mom? Do I dream of this thing that I talked to you about? Of course I do. But it doesn't sadden me each and every day. Not at all. I have so much to be grateful for. See, when you become a follower of Christ and you understand what's really going on in the scriptures and you understand what's happening in the world today, when you understand the entire picture, there is such great happiness. And I'm going to talk about that later because that's part of my testimony as far as my journey as a follower of Christ. But yes, I wake up happy and my spirit's renewed every day. And yes, I miss my mom, but I am not overly saddened about these situations. And because there's nothing you can do about it, and you're not the one that abandoned them. So I wanted to share some of those thoughts with with ex-witnesses. you know, other than that, I don't have anything else to add to this video, other than you just need to move on. Move on. It's not your fault that these things have happened, and there's so much to be grateful for in your life. I mean, it's all part of the process. I mean, if you stayed in that organization because of your parents or because of your grandchildren, you would not be a happy person. Life would have remained the same for you. So continue on. Continue on. If you're a follower of Christ, find joy in that. And I guarantee you that these other things are not going to bother you at all. I am not concerned about all the things that I talked about. They do not drag me down day by day. In fact, most of the time, I don't even think about this subject, actually. But there are times when I do. I do dream about it, but not with sadness. It's just I look at it like that would be good. So anyway, I will conclude with this video. I'll have to give it a title later because I don't really know what kind of title to give this. But I wanted to share this, not because it relates to everybody, but rather it might relate to people that have lost loved ones, not due to death, but because of that organization. So, and it may help you to see that you're not alone in your feelings. So anyway, I sure hope my mom watches this video, but that probably will not happen. But hey, even if your own mother abandons you, leaves you, you technically don't need parents because God is going to take you in. Well, that'll conclude the video. Until the next one, we'll see you.